Babies, my babies. Sorry, man, I promised myself I'm gonna start recording videos again today, even though I just did a test and I didn't like the outcome. Software, dude, computers, good stuff. Anyways, today's no. When I say I don't care, I found out it's the prevalent attitude. Truth is, I'm indifferent towards many things, and I do care. It's an interesting video because I was actually like, I was walking at work when I wrote this about a month and a half ago. And there were a group of women that normally sit next to me. And of course, man, they're just kind of always, I'm sorry, man, like, I don't mean anything, but like they're the type that only discusses husbands, fiancés. They're at that age, right? And the career wise, kind of like they're handling logistics for a company. So they're tough women, but they basically, they don't necessarily do anything, discuss anything but work and like personal stuff. So for me, I stay away from these things. And I was walking to the kitchen, and I remember I was kind of like they quieted down as I walked in, and I made my coffee, and I fucked off. And then as I was leaving, I was thinking to myself, I don't care, and all the attitude. And then I was like, why the fuck am I saying this? And then I started kind of like reflecting on maybe an insecurity that I had, because naturally, when you walk into a room and people kind of stop talking, it's the first thing you're gonna think about. The fuck are you talking about? But I doubt they were talking about me. I just think it's personal stuff. So what happens is my mind went and was like, you could do whatever you want, I don't care, or something like this. But I found out, like, I looked and I asked myself the question. I was like, no, this is more of the attitude I have than the actual feeling. And here's the fun part. Because the minute I thought about it this way, I was like, do I really care about what they were talking about? No. I reacted to how they reacted, and then ultimately, that brought out that attitude of mine that kind of handles situations like this. Like to avoid awkwardness, I don't give a fuck, man. Truth is, I do. But then I looked at myself and I was like, but I don't give a fuck about this one, but do I not give a fuck? Am I that not give a fuck guy? And it's the whole like aura becomes I don't give a fuck. The whole like situation where you're looking at yourself and you're like, and I think that's the tricky part because the when you're feeling love, you kind of like feel love to everything. When you're feeling anger, you kind of feel anger to everything. And these are the things about feelings is how we engage with them. I don't like the word manage them, but because we don't really manage them. They kind of start showing up because the triggers around us, and we kind of like engage and negotiate our way through them. And so I started asking questions. We're like, okay, so you don't care about a bunch of women talking about stuff, a bunch of people, and you don't care about other people that are, for example, just you're really indifferent. Sorry, about people that are just kind of like living life the way they want to live it. You don't care. And I started asking myself, okay, so what do you care about? And one of the things that popped in my head was like, okay, I care about my health. I care about my family, I guess. I care enough for me to still want to see them even when I don't like them. Liking somebody and caring about somebody are two different things. Like you just have that personality where you're like, you know what, bro, I'm not into it. And I care for the people that I engage with every day. It was something fun that I actually like noticed. Like genuinely, when I pass by the small shop around the corner, and I don't see the guy there around 7 o'clock when I take my walk. And the guy basically, every day he small. He opens around like 6:30, and when I don't see him at 7 o'clock, I wonder is he okay and all that stuff. So that's caring, right? That's like thoughtfulness and the good stuff. And the more I asked myself what are the things that I cared about, I realized that I cared a lot more about stuff than I was not. I cared a lot more. I cared about a lot more stuff than stuff that I didn't care for. So even though my attitude overall was I don't care, I don't give a fuck, most of the shit that I actually like, most of the shit within my realm is shit that I care about. So it started making me question where the whole like I don't care came from. And I backtracked all the way. By the way, that's a programming term. we've been learning about it like more intensely over the past week. But I actually backtracked all the way to like when I was like a kid and just be yelled at and all this stuff, right? We've all been like handled before as children. And so I backtracked all the way there and I started realizing that there's still some anger that kind of is reflected anytime I'm having a conversation with somebody or anytime I'm around people in general. It feels like most of the people in general, I always have that you're going to disappoint kind of set up in my head. And it's not from a judgment perspective. It's that kind of like, I don't know, it wouldn't sound humble, but I spoke about it once. It is, there are the three kinds of beliefs. Like there's the three kinds of truth, sorry. But there's the truth. There's I believe, you believe that's the truth. Or there's I believe that that is your truth. Right? There's the truth, which is basically something that's kind of like blatantly obvious for people to see. And there's like, I believe that you believe that's the truth. And then there's, I believe that is your truth, right? Like the third one is kind of like personal, ingrained, like this is my truth. And that's basically how you live your life. And I started, how did I get here? Backtracking. I went all the way back to people disappointing. So like I kind of like have been with all the things that I've been changing, I still kind of like held on to a process that I used to like engage with when it came to people back in the day. And again, like my attitude towards people has changed, and the way I discuss with them and the way I respond to them changed. Back then, I used to just react, but mentally or subconsciously, my mind still interacts with people in the exact same way we did before. So I remember that day I sat basically and I started writing some stuff and I started discussing with myself, like, okay, so like, why would you bring this up? Why would it matter? How did you feel afterwards? Because like I came back to work and then they came and sat around me. And I remember I was working, I didn't care because I think I put music in my head, but I took the note. So the minute I sat down, I took the note. And taking the note means I consciously noticed something. And then from there, I started delving deeper and deeper into just how I view people and how engaging with people kind of like, I really think just like the way I engage with people has become very standardized, maybe by what is right, but I still have to harmonize with it completely. Where it's not necessarily I trust that they're not gonna fuck up or not gonna like disappoint or any of that stuff. I shouldn't care if they do. It should be an anticipation. It should be like an expectation even. But I think that maybe just not interacting with them on that basis is a lot more has a lot more to do with how I actually am as a person than just having like a front that is harmonious, which is kind of like it starts revealing how it starts revealing some sort of fakeness to yourself, right? Because you kind of like anytime you scratch the surface and you find something new, you kind of realize there's something deeper. And maybe if you compare yourself to others, you could actually like get away with it because you see them not really like scratching the surface beyond a certain point. So you can always like have that strong feeling that you're actually doing better. But better than them is not better than what you were yesterday, and not better on how you want to be, and not better towards how you want to be or where you want to be. So those are the things that have popped in my mind right now reading this. When I say I don't care, I found that that's just the attitude, man. And I'm really indifferent to a lot of things. Indifferent is not emotionless. Indifferent means there's no point having emotions, right? There's no point having a certain, like, the energy will still flow with you. Don't get me wrong, there are things that affect you and, like, your body actually responds and reacts to them. But would I just want to add more fuel to the fire? Because that's where kind of like, right? Okay, emotions rise and start becoming these feelings that hang on to our shoulders and they kind of like weigh us down or just pull us in different directions. I don't know, man, but it's fun to consider just, it's fun to self actualize and to consider how every time there's somebody around you, you're interacting with their presence before you interact with themselves. I think that's the video. Amazeballs.